When a woman's body adopts different types of patterns for walking, it can tell a lot of what are the imbalances that are happening in her body. Usually when a girl is walking over swaying the hips, it means that the paraspinals are overactive and that they're most likely an anterior pelvic tilt, which is this position. Now, all bodies will have a default on how you usually stand. Some of us will have a little bit of more of a tendency of an anterior pelvic tilt, and some others will have more of a posterior pelvic tilt, tucking the hips in. Whatever you are, it is important that you know what your body tends to do so you can address it properly. If you sway your hips a lot when you're walking, then it means that most likely there is a lack of engagement on the medial glute, which is a very important muscle for your pelvic stabilization. Also, when you live in an anterior pelvic world, your paraspinals might be overactive and there is a lack of core engagement on the front. If you live in a posterior pelvic tilt, meaning that your hips are always tucked in and most likely your shoulders are rounded, there is a very high chance that you're also having a lot of tightness on the part of the glutes. When that happens, mobility can also be affected. Upper body and lower body need to have a constant communication in order for your movements to be balanced and for your body to also move properly without compensations. Not correcting these compensations can lead to other problems like back pain, neck pain, heaviness on your pelvic floor, also worsening of diastasis recti if you already are suffering with that, and overall just not feeling great. One of my favorite ways to start creating core engagement and awareness is by doing hands and knees breathing against the wall. You will adopt a tabletop position, placing the crown of your head against the wall, making sure that your knees are aligned right under your hip bones and that your hands are right under your shoulders, creating a lot of space right here for your lats, your scapula. So protracting a little bit, creating as well a perfect flat back. We take a big inhale into the base of the ribcage and exhale through pursed lips as we tilt the hips forward. Now notice that I am not squeezing my glutes, I'm literally just tilting my hips forward. Take another inhale and exhale, tilt again. This will start bringing awareness and feeling in the lower part of your abdomen. Once you can do this a couple of times and find your maximum tilt without arching your back. So remember, I'm not rounding my back. My back is staying flat. All that I'm moving is just my hips and not changing the pressure on the crown of my head. You can take 5 to 6 small breaths and come back to the center. On the other hand, if you have a very pronounced posterior pelvic tilt, meaning that your hips are really pushed in and scooped in, then you can actually create an anterior pelvic tilt. So we're going to place a folded towel underneath your low back, one folded for your head, place your feet against the wall, and then from here we're gonna drag the heels down, creating some traction and being able now to feel your hamstrings. Bring your arms up and just breathing here as you allow your tilt to happen naturally and then tilt in. So tilt out, tilt in, tilt out, and tilt in. Always remember that as you are breathing, you want to be able to feel the breath going to the base of the ribcage, staying away from bringing the air towards your shoulders, worsening the tension that you might be feeling on your neck. Start feeling the engagement on the medial glute. You can start with something that is called shifts on the block. Ideally, since you may be very new for this, you want to start using the wall as support for the leg that is not moving. So I'm gonna get on a tabletop position, bringing the block close to the wall so my hips can stay supported by the wall, and keeping your tabletop position in completely alignment. I'm gonna start bringing one knee down straight now without letting my body leave the wall, and then bringing it back up without pushing my body into the wall. So having the wall next to me is allowing my body to stay completely aligned and my pelvic bone to rotate on top of the femur. You will be feeling here the side glute on the leg that is on top of the block.
If you have a lot of tightness on the lower glute, you can use a ball to start loosening it up, moving the ball from inside to the outside of the glute. So you want to work one glute at a time, adding as much pressure as you can handle without feeling any pain. To add thoracic mobility and coordination of lower body and upper body, you can start with this simple exercise by placing one foot on top of a chair and then leaning your body towards the leg that you have on top as you exhale. Inhale when you're standing up, filling up your thoracic box, and then exhale as you are going down. You can see it from the other side. You can always place one hand behind your head to add more mobility on the scapula of the opposite shoulder. Make sure that you are taking big inhales into the entire thorax and exhale when you're going down to get more intention on the obliques. Also pay attention on how you are doing chores at home. We want to avoid this position and create more space between the counters and your tummy. That will give you better alignment of hips and thorax.